Most Americans say climate change has hit them close to home, yet there are still many who don't accept the degree that global warming is affecting the planet. The Pew Research Center shared 5 previously published charts illustrating American attitudes toward global warming in honor of Earth Day on Monday, and while a majority, 59%, of Americans in a 2018 survey said they've seen at least some impact of climate change where they live, that means almost 4 in 10, 40%, countered that it isn't affecting their local area or their lives at all. Most of them weren't living on the coasts, however, which are the areas most vulnerable to the storms and floods that have been correlated with rising sea levels that have been worsened by carbon emissions. A 2016 study published in Nature Climate Change warned that more than 13 million Americans living in coastal communities could see their lives disrupted by sea level rise resulting from climate change. See, from solar panels to changing your diet, 11 ways you can celebrate Earth Day. Hawaii state lawmakers are currently trying to pass legislation to earmark millions of dollars for a coastline protection program to protect Waikiki Beach, which they fear will be underwater in the next few decades as the result of rising sea levels. Indeed, among the Americans in the Pew report who said global warming has affected their local areas, 45% pointed to more frequent cases of extreme weather, including severe storms, droughts, floods and wildfires. Opinion: how climate change could trigger the next financial crisis. Another Pew survey released earlier this year found that most U.S. adults, 56%, say protecting the environment should be a priority for the President and Congress, and 44% say the same about dealing with global climate change, which has increased over the past decade, but the economy, 70%, healthcare costs, 69%, education, 68%, and terrorism, 67%, still trump the environment, as far as the public's policy priorities are concerned. Americans' views on climate change appear to be shaped by their political views, although roughly 2/3 of Americans, 67%, complain that the federal government wasn't doing enough to reduce global climate change. In a 2018 Pew report, when broken out by political affiliation, only about 3 in 10 Republicans and Republican-leaning independents, 27%, said policies to reduce climate change help the environment. Rather, 44% of Republicans said such policies make no difference, and about 3 in 10, 28%, said they do more harm than good for the environment. In contrast, 2/3, 66%, of Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents said such policies help the environment. Only 12% of Dems thought climate change policies do more harm than good, and 20% thought they made no difference. See, climate change has cost the government $350 billion. Here's what it will cost you. What's more, partisanship has a greater impact on people's beliefs about climate change than their scientific knowledge. While most Democrats who identify as having medium or high scientific knowledge believe that climate change is due to human activity, 71% and 93%, respectively, most Republicans don't attribute climate change to human activity, regardless of their knowledge on the matter, Pew found. Of Republicans with a low, medium or high science knowledge, only 19%, 25% and 23%, respectively, blame climate change on human activity. See, students around the world skip class to organize climate change protests. Meanwhile, independent analyses by NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, report that 2018 was the 4th warmest year since 1880 in a continued warming trend, with global temperatures hotter by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit last year than the mean temps between 1951 and 1980. The past 5 years collectively have been the warmest years in the modern record, warming by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit.